Hello, beautiful soul. Welcome back to the Awakening Her podcast. How's it going, friend? I'm your host, Talia Joy. I help you in your awakening journey, and that is definitely what we're doing today. So, we're talking about when you feel like you're kind of at a plateau, you feel stuck, you feel stagnant, maybe you feel unclear on what's ahead, or maybe if you're someone who writes a manifestation list, there's something that you've been wanting for a while over and over, and you don't feel like you're making progress. If any of these apply, this is what we're talking about today. And I just first want to say before we totally dive in that this is part of the process. And there's going to be so much about this that comes forward today because what we perceive as stuck, as stagnant, as unclear is just like our current state of being. So I just want to say that it's not that you're eternally stuck or you have to stay here. It's literally just energy. And sometimes we don't have the inspiration or we have a blind spot. We can't see what we're missing. And in that, there's no guilt, there's no shame. It's actually part of the transformation of the manifestation journey. Because if you already knew the path, if you already, knew exactly what to do, you'd be there. If you already were there, you'd be there. So you're not there. And for me as well, there's big things in my business or in my health where sometimes I'm like, I have no idea where to go here, or I feel like I keep asking for the same thing. It's not coming forward. So today we're going to talk about 10 different things that you can start to do when your progress feels slow to reset your energy. There's practical actions, there's energetic tips, because this is the thing is it's just part of the process. And all it is you're ready for your next level. You're getting frustrated with where you're at, which is actually a good thing because you're receptive, you're open, you're really wanting to move forward. So this is the perfect episode for you. Okay, grab your water, grab your tea, grab your pineapple smoothie, and let's dive in. Hey, beautiful soul. Welcome to the Awakening Her podcast. I am so grateful that you've been led here, and I'm so excited for you that you're answering the call to manifest more magic in your life. My name is Talia Joy, and I am committed to showing you exactly how to manifest more excitement, ease, success, abundance, confidence, love, and anything else you've been craving. So if you're ready to go on a magical journey of spiritual and self-growth to manifest the life you're meant for, we are now besties. Let's dive in. All right. Welcome back. We're going to dive into 10 things that you can do, ask yourself, shift in order to move forward when you feel stuck or stagnant. Before I say that, if you're looking to jumpstart your meditation practice, maybe you're starting or you're curious or you're just bored with yours, you're looking for fresh new meditations, I am running a 10-day meditation challenge. I've created a special link for podcast listeners in the show notes if you want to join me. We start October 1st. There's been so many amazing seekers joining. There's a community thread that we're going to do so we can gather and root each other on. It's going to be a blast. The code allows you to come in for just $15 for a 10-day meditation challenge. You're getting new meditations every day. They're brand new. There's so many different styles. Just go check it out. See if it resonates, and hopefully I'll see you in that challenge. Okay, so the first thing that you can do when you're feeling stuck or stagnant, and the tone of all of these 10 things, I just want to say, if you know me, you know, I come in truth and I come in love. If I sound a little, straight up, it's because I want the absolute most for you, even by the end of this episode. I want the highest good for you. So, with that being said, that little disclaimer, the first thing you can do is ask yourself, am I truly unblocking when it comes to this area or this thing? So if you're feeling stuck, stagnant, at a plateau with money, with your body, with dreams or goals that you have, maybe it's with your income or travel goals or whatever it is that you're going through, your fitness, maybe your health. If you feel stuck or stagnant, you really want to ask yourself, am I actually unblocking? And I've had things that I've desired for years that like I've been working through shit to get to the point where I can actually step into that. And so sometimes I'm like, no, I haven't even really been trying lately because I've been focusing on something else. It's totally fine. No shame. But we just want to ask ourselves when there's something we really want, am I actually unblocking? And what I mean by unblocking is, you probably know this by now, but our progress gets slowed down only by resistance. The way that I see this reality is that everything we want is actually available to us. But what stops it from coming into our experience is resistance. We all have resistance. It's not like a bad thing that only you have or you're wrong and bad for it. Like literally, that is the human experience. And that's a part from my channel that they always are showing me. Like we are so hard on ourselves, but we are not source. We are not angels. We are not spirit guides, right? We are humans. So between you now and what you want just is resistance because there is, and there is with me and there is with everybody else. So when we aren't getting something that we desire, we do want to look into, yes, our beliefs, right? Our patterns, our resistance that comes up. And through these other 10 things, we're going to go more in depth with that, with how you can actually do that. We're going to talk a lot about this because unblocking is such a big part of when we're feeling stuck and in order to move through. So this is the time to check in and go, am I holding on to something I need to let go of? Where are there exact contradicting beliefs, right? This is self-growth 101. If I say I want more money, where inside me is there a belief that believes the opposite in the way of if I had money, these bad things would happen? So, for example, it's common to want more money, but then to go, really, mo money, mo problems. Or, the more money I have, the more taxes I have to pay. The more people are going to want from me. I'm going to feel guilty making more than my friends. We do have in our subconscious mind, deep down, things that contradict what we want. So sometimes if we want to lose weight, we couple that with, I have to give up all the food that I actually want to eat. I'm not going to be able to eat anything delicious. So those two beliefs contradict each other. So without shame, without story, we want to start asking ourselves, where do I have contradicting information or contradicting stories going on, right? Maybe it's, I really want a new job, but you haven't put out any resumes or any effort because you don't believe you're worthy of any position that pays more, or just something like that. It's like, what is it in Friends? Like, where's the poop? Is that Friends? What was that? It might have been How I Met Your Mother. Anyway, we got to search for, we don't have to dig endlessly and obsessively, but this is useful information because between me and that next thing I want is a belief. And sometimes it's that I don't believe I can actually have it, which is another one we're going to get to. Okay, the next thing that you can do is to check in and ask yourself, am I taking inspired action? And this is a part of manifestation that I kind of wish was like in some ways a bigger deal, but also in some ways less of a big deal because we do get obsessed with what I should be doing. But the difference between what I should be doing and inspired action is what I should be doing is we're looking outside for someone, a webinar, someone to tell us what the strategy is, what the thing is that we should be doing. Whereas inspired action comes from inside. It comes from like, what would be cool? Or like, oh man, I had this idea to make like a coloring book for kids that's conscious. Or I had this, like, imagine doing this in my business. Or imagine taking, Italian and then going to Italy and traveling for 6 months. Inspired action comes from within you. So that's the key. We get caught in the trap of doing, but it's not actually aligned or inspired action. It's coming from a place of figuring it out, which is usually coming from fear, doubt, panic, right? Which totally, I'm raising my hand. I, can slip into this at any time. But it's really important to come back to, does it actually feel good? Does it feel right? And this in itself, I'm going to get to it more, but this will test your faith because Sometimes the action that, like, I know this so well, especially in my business, where I'm being told to do something that consciously I can't see how it makes me like financially as secure as something I'm currently doing. Or sometimes you're asked to like take a risk that it's like, what the heck? And we don't always have to take these level 10 brave, huge leaps. Magic comes in the small things, like starting to meditate more regularly or starting to go for a walk every day when you feel from a nudge inside. You know what I should do? Or, you know what would be neat? These are inspired actions that come through. So, in respect to the place where you feel stuck, have you been trying things? Have you been basically not just taking action? The better question is, have I been listening to my intuition in this area? So, that's number two. Number three, this is where we want to check in. I touched on this in a second ago, but this is where we want to check in and ask, do I actually believe that this can happen? And this can be a tough one. When progress feels slow, it can shake your belief, right? Your belief in all this manifesting stuff or your belief in yourself to do something. So, do you actually believe that it can happen? And I have a lot of clients that, they come into one-on-one work and they're coming authentic and really trying to be honest, lay it out there. And they're like, no, I don't believe it can actually happen. So, lack of belief causes resistance. And when we don't believe it can happen, this energy completely blocks us from it coming into our life. So there's a couple different ways we go here. I can't get into every single point and what to do because there's 10 of these points, but one good thing that we can do is go and see proof of somebody else who has done it. So if you feel like you can't make $1 million before you're 30 because nobody does it that young, go find someone who's made $1 million before 30, or, be around people who show you that it's possible. And even if this is where sometimes a vision board to like see the house on the vision board and different things starts to like show your brain proof that like this exists, I can have it. So this is where it's really great to actually go search for people who have healed the thing that you're going through. Go search for people who are single parents that are conscious or, have lost weight or have done whatever it is that you deeply desire where you feel stuck right now. Be around that energy of anybody who makes you start to believe that you actually can do this. So it can be people that instill a belief in you of like anything's possible, self-growth, or it can be people who have physically done what it is that you're doing. And actually, I think this is a much more effective method than even trying to go, why don't I believe it? Is it because of my childhood? Like we all don't believe in ourselves in some way or another. And people that achieve transformation or manifestations and really, overhaul their life, they're face to face with the things that they haven't believed that they could do. So just know it's not as important to dig into why you don't believe it. It's more important to just focus on moving forward and going, okay, how can I show my brain that this is possible? Okay, the next one is while you're in this time of stagnation or lack of clarity or not moving forward, please notice. It's tough, it's hard. May the force be with you. Join on the path for all the tools, but notice looping patterns in this time. So this is the part that can be really frustrating, but this is going to be the best part, the best time to put on your like self-healer, self-growth hat, be your own detective, and start to pay attention to looping patterns. So this can be looping thoughts, looping emotions, looping reactions. It could be like looping patterns out there, like you think that something's going to pan out and then it isn't, and you feel this disappointment over and over. Starting to notice the looping patterns that are currently playing out in your life. You can, of course, look back, but if you're stagnant right now, the looping patterns that are here right now are trying to show you something. So notice looping patterns, even if it's self-sabotage or something that you would go to blame yourself. Don't blame, don't shame, just notice what's going on. And this is the place where humans, myself included, we spend so much time in looping thoughts, looping emotions. And once you kind of get it, you realize you don't have to spend that much time in there. But again, even myself, there'll be things where for years I feel like I'm in a loop the best thing you can do is start to notice those looping patterns and start to know, learn, experience, inquire, start to know that these are subconscious beliefs that are asking to be seen, healed, held, witnessed, so that we don't have to keep living the same looping pattern. It is actually the universe, life, really loving you so much that it's showing you what's within. So if you have these looping patterns of not being able to trust people, there's a trust wound that is asking to be nourished. There's usually self-trust that is asking to be stepped into. Yes, it's not easy. It'll ask you to grow. But your looping patterns are doing exactly that. They're asking you to grow so that you can get to where you are going, that goal you want, right? And my growth, whether it's business, personal, whatever, it has all like been an up and down. And when I'm in the down, when I'm in the flat line, when I'm in the not really moving forward, those frustrating things that keep looping, those physical things that keep looping, I now become my detective and go, I've been noticing a lot of this, right? And this is where we go deeper into the work. It's asking to be seen so that it can be, dealt with. Okay, this brings us into the next one, which is number 5. And this is very much similar. I put these two together on purpose. It's time to also identify your triggers when you are in this time. So starting to notice, like, do you trigger into feeling failure, frustration, or comparison to others? Starting to notice where you get triggered and what is triggering you, what is, showing up in your life. So these triggers are like emotional data, again, showing you what needs attention. So instead of pushing them away, instead of guilt, instead of shame, we start to lean in or explore or inquire. What is this trigger trying to teach me? And this will take you in a few different directions, perhaps into, more self-growth, but also just breathing through triggers is a huge way to pick up momentum, because what happens is we have a trigger, we emotionally respond, it throws us into a loop in our body, in our mind, in our energy, and then we get really up and down results because we're constantly being sucked into these triggers. So rightly so, again, it's human, but what I've started doing and what I noticed I started getting huge results is realizing that, like, it's kind of like a craving, it's kind of like a temptation. If we can slow down and just kind of breathe through and go, I'm feeling really triggered financially right now, or I feel like I'm not making progress in my fitness journey, just that's okay. What am I feeling? I'm feeling frustration. I'm feeling some fear. Just breathe through it. And it starts to just kind of, it not takes over you, but it moves through you like a wave, and then it moves out. And you start to go, okay, what do I need? What do I need through this? I need to take a walk. I need to have a bath. I need to have a meditation. I need to punch a pillow. What do you need? And we start to move through. So triggers in some ways are kind of like a spiritual test to see how you're really doing, because you're asking for more in your life. You're asking for more health, more abundance, more, experiences, more richness. And so you're going to be triggered as nothing other than almost like a feedback. Like, where are you actually at? So when we start asking for more money, we will get something that triggers us, that tempts us to go, like, are you going to flail back into this? Or are you going to anchor in, breathe through, know it's not eternally true, and face your true north, face back into the light? So hopefully that makes sense. So in this time, identifying your triggers and seeing if you can learn just a tiny bit at a time to breathe through the trigger and go, like, it's okay, I'm still manifesting money, even if this bill came in the mail. And here's like an actual, like, more quantum spiritual hack. You can have any trigger, thought, or belief and still manifest. That's a whole other thing. But seriously, you can say to yourself, like, right now I'm experiencing a trigger and I'm still manifesting. It's okay. Stuff comes up. I'm experiencing a trigger. I can breathe through it. I can slow down, and I'm still manifesting. So there's a hack for you. Number 6, when you are feeling stuck, when you're feeling stagnant, when you're feeling blah, I would seriously start to make more time, space for meditation or a self-care practice that is slow, like a bath, or like really not just, self-care as an exercise and listening to podcasts, or even, whatever, writing in your journal, time where you get to just be still. So meditation is one of my favorites because there's so many different types. Again, if this calls you, join us in the meditation challenge. You can check the link below for the special discount. But when you make time for spaciousness, I really want you to hear this. When you go inward in a time when you need clarity, in a time when you need momentum, when you want to move forward, this allows your intuition to come through. This allows the racing thoughts, the trying to figure it out, to just cease for a minute, right? 10 minutes, 20 minutes. And it's hard when you feel stuck to want to slow down, because it's usually when we feel like we want to do more. But sometimes actually the sacred pause is what we need to create space. So something like meditation resets your energy and gets you back into listening inward rather than outward. So I like to meditate with like guided ones or silent ones, or, different styles. But even, like I said, going in the bath and putting on some gentle music, some track that's like 4 hours long, so you're not going to like be distracted or interrupted, and just put it on and float in the bath and just focus on your breath. You don't have to get rid of thoughts, do whatever feels good, just be. The practice is just be. This is where we start to hear the callings of our soul, the nudges of our intuition. So when you're feeling stuck, you've probably slipped into some sort of I gotta figure it out, which is completely my default. I get into like, I gotta figure this out mode. And even sometimes I'm like, I gotta figure this out. Spirit team, give it to me right now. And like, I'm still in this pushing energy, and I gotta just breathe. Sometimes I go for a nice walk and then go into a meditation. And even 10 or 15 minutes is so powerful. So again, if you want to join us, we have meditations from Meet Your Spirit Guide to Aligning with Abundance to a morning ritual. It's going to be so good to show you. You can really get it in even 15 minutes or less. So I recommend joining us if that calls to you. So the next one is number 7. And this is where it, again, backing on the meditation, we want to create space to chill and to pause. And this can be anything from meditation to going on a slower walk in nature, or taking, making some space in your calendar. Sometimes when I feel stuck in something, I just go into like, I got to figure it out. I got to create. And I almost like fill a bunch of space with a bunch of stuff that is, I'm just kind of panicking. I'm kind of flailing. And I recognize, okay, that's the time to actually peel back, to slow down, to create space and spaciousness. And I'll do sometimes anything from take myself away to an Airbnb for a few nights, or just take a work day where I don't have any calls and I take that opportunity to meditate, to do, a gentle workout, have a bath, whatever. Just take some space. Nature is amazing for this, and not filling it in your ears with like more stuff and, oh, I'll just watch that webinar while I walk around the pond. Like, actually take space. Because again, that's where you can hear your intuition. That's where your spirit team, because they are there. Your soul, your spirit team, everything, they're all guiding you. They want you to make it through. It's just that sometimes we're too distracted. So by taking time to pause and not pushing for the next thing, we start to leave room for magic to happen. Whether it's we're more receptive, pieces fall into place, or you get a good, nudge inside, that type of thing. So number 8, we're almost done. Number 8 is I would really recommend in this time to create an everyday, or the energy of every day, so most days, some sort of journal practice where you're just doing a gentle check-in. Like, how am I feeling? What's been coming up? What do I need? Is there anything coming up that I need to process or let go of? This type of thing, again, helps you to access that inner wisdom, because everything you need is coming from the inside. Even if you're guided to read a certain book or work with somebody, a mentor or somebody that's going to help you, still that nudge is from inside. So by just checking in, By doing a check-in, you can use these questions or you can just create it as you go. But what am I feeling? What's been coming up? How am I doing? You could check in with your inner child if that resonates. What do I need? And then maybe, is there anything coming up this week that's asking me to let go or to heal? Is there something that I need to process, this type of thing? And then if you do have a mentor, a therapist, or someone you're working with, you could bring these things. It's just a way of actively checking in and noticing and working through the things that are coming up. So even just a simple daily practice of just a couple questions, it shows the universe, it shows your higher self, your soul, everything, that you are really trying to do what you can to show up for yourself, to care about your own inner world. It's showing that you care about your feelings, you care about your thoughts, you care about what's coming up, not just trying to push forward, trying to figure it out, go, go, go. You'll be surprised what comes up. And maybe ask yourself like a few check-in questions and then just leave some space for 2-3 minutes of automatic writing. Just see what comes up. What do I need to know today, right? Just checking in, and a journal is a great way. If you hate journaling, you absolutely don't have to. You could do this in the mirror. You could do this with your hand on your heart and just saying like, what am I feeling today? What's coming up? Or how has this week been? But making it a regular occurrence. It's not a big deal. It's not, an hour of journaling. It's just some gentle inquiry. Okay, so number 9 is practicing gratitude, but I'm going to call it grounded gratitude. Okay, so we're not just going like, oh, I'm grateful for my office plants because they're beautiful. Like just, and I do that too sometimes where I'm just trying to kind of pick things. But what I really want you to focus on is focusing on what you already have, how far you've come, even the simple people around you, that your kids are healthy right now, or that these flowers are blooming and they're so beautiful. Maybe gratitude for your entire journey and how crazy it's been, but where you are now and how far you've come. Maybe it's gratitude for your spirit team for having your back, picking something you genuinely feel grateful for. And sometimes, like I will say, even like I feel grateful that I went through so much shit in my, early life, because now I'm so much more empathetic, or I've come so far. Other times it's I'm grateful I have running water, and there's a lot of people in the world that don't, but more than that, I'm just grateful for the natural resources around me, grateful for the seasons and how as the seasons change, it brings me wisdom. Really thinking about grounded gratitude. Like, what are you just actually grateful for without it being this big to do and having to list a million things? So, starting to just focus on that a little bit more in this journey. And you could even say, although I don't know what's next, I'm grateful for how far I've come in this area. Because chances are, whether it's money or inner peace or the things that you want, chances are you have already made progress. So being grateful for the teachers that have helped you along your way, the books you've read, the times you haven't given up, really grounding into what good is there in life right now. Where can we put our mind on that even just a little bit? So sometimes I'm driving and I'm just like, oh, I'm so grateful for the island I live on. Sometimes I am writing it down. Sometimes right before bed, I've got my hand on my heart and I'm like, I'm grateful for this day. I got through it. My kids are fed. We all survived. We live another day. That's great. And sometimes it's just like working it in where you can. It's more a gratitude mindset than having to do a certain thing. So if that resonates to have a gratitude list, go for it. Maybe setting reminders on your phone to check in, but making sure it's grounded, making sure your energy is behind it. It'll start to shift your focus. And as we focus on the things that we already have, it's like we're doing a prayer that says, I'm grateful for this, more please. I'm grateful for this, yes, this, and things like this. So it is a prayer of manifestation. It's a prayer of, these are the things I like. Please have, more of these come into my life. Okay, so the last thing that you can do, well, there's lots of things you can do, but the last thing we're going to talk about today, if you're feeling stuck or stagnant, is to reaffirm your commitment to your growth, to yourself, to the universe. I know if you're like me, I know that sometimes I get swallowed up in like the physical pain or the feelings of frustration or where I'm not yet. And I forget that I'm, on a growth journey. So there are times where really big things have come up, and the whole time it's like I've had my hand on my heart going like, this fucking sucks, but this is really important for my growth. This is really big stuff coming up. And when I remember that, I start to be again more aware of like all the things we've talked about. Like, what's the looping pattern here? What is this teaching me? What is this? Why is this coming up right now? And I can tell you time and time again, I'll just be asking for a bigger expression of life, more joy, more health, like a bigger life experience. And then something like gnarly comes up that just rocks my self worth or sends me into an emotional response. And it doesn't really make sense compared to what I'm manifesting, but the universe is showing me where my limits are. When we're in a plateau, we're just at a growth edge. So they're going to show you this life experience, your spirit guides, life will mirror back to you kind of like your lowest point so that you can heal. So when you reaffirm your commitment to your growth, when you reaffirm that to yourself, like, okay, I'm in this for the long haul. Trust in the process. What is this teaching me? And what do I need to move through? What do I need? And sometimes don't be afraid to work with a mentor or read a book or take a self-study course or ground into meditation to really get the answers or bounce it off a friend who you trust. But just remembering, like, I go into these times where it's borderline like desperation of like, I really want to freaking figure this out. And I will reach out to people. I'm like, who do I know? Where can I say, like, hey, can I pick your brain? Or where can we connect? Can we have coffee? Reach out to a friend. I'm not the best at doing that, but sometimes I really go like, screw it. I want clarity. I want answers. So there's a lot of really, beautiful people that are really well educated around me that have resources. So maybe I could just ask for help. Maybe I could ask for perspective. What am I missing? I don't stay in what am I missing, but I reaffirm that I'm in a growth journey. So between you and what you want is growth. So remembering that it's not just about the magic fix that manifests everything, it's the growth. So sometimes hugely, well, not even sometimes, powerful shifts are happening beneath the surface. So reminding yourself that this is a growth journey, you're committed to the process and you're committed to your growth. There's no other way around it. You have to commit to your growth. You have to invest in your growth. And that's not always just money. That's like when you show up in your meditation practice or when you show up to ask yourself a question of like, what's really going on here? That's investment, emotional, it's focus, right? Your growth needs your focus as you go through this journey. And sometimes it's inner reflection. Sometimes it's learning, like like a program or something, or working with a healer or a therapist or a mentor. But the growth keeps going. It's practicing the practice. So remembering that you're in this growth journey, you're not wrong and bad, you're not manifesting wrong. It's nothing is wrong. You're being asked to expand. And everyone you see on Instagram that's manifesting, everyone you see in the self-development space, they are also at their own growth edge in some other area. And I promise you, this is also the process that they're going through. I promise you. From like the self-help gurus, the Tony Robbinses, the Gabby Bernsteins, of course, they've all got their methodologies and their tools, but really it's about releasing the resistance you have and seeing what this rut, what this stagnant point is showing you, is asking you to do. So a quick recap, are you actually unblocking? Where are there contradicting energies and beliefs going on? Are you taking inspired action? Are you listening to your intuition? Is a better way to ask that. The intuition actions that you have been nudged toward, have you been doing that? Do you believe that it can actually happen? Is your belief strong in that? Start to notice your looping patterns. Start to identify and notice the triggers, the things that give you that emotional charge, the things that really frustrate you. Learn to regulate and calm and move through them like a wave, but also know they are useful information showing you what's going on. They'll show you the themes, they'll show you the patterns. The number 6 one was make time for meditation, make time to, in some ways, do nothing, to be open, make time for stillness and clarity, give space for your intuition to come through, which is number 7, create space for chill, for pause, for nature, for reflection. Seriously, chill to move forward, ground down to rise up, breathe deep to create huge, for real. Take the space. You deserve it. You need it. That's when your best stuff's going to come forward anyway. Number 8 is you could journal through this time, checking in. How am I feeling? What's been coming up today? What patterns, what triggers, just for data, right? Money really triggered me today. Okay, what do I need? Let's breathe through that. What do I need to let go of? How am I doing? So having a journal practice through this time will allow guidance to come forward even more, allowing space maybe to automatic write and just taking inventory. Number 9 is practicing grounded gratitude. What are you actually genuinely grateful for? Whether it's this earth and the cosmos, or it's the family members that are around you, or the changing seasons, practice grounded gratitude to focus more on what you want, to place orders for yes, please, more of this type of thing. It will help you start to move forward. And number 10 is reaffirming to yourself, and whether that's an investment of time, a commitment you make, reaffirm your commitment to growth, recognizing that it's just a growth journey. You're not wrong, you're not bad, you're growing. You're in this for the long haul. Trust the process. Commit to the growth. Commit to the daily practice. Get help when you need it. Commit to that journey. Seeker, like if you're like me, it's like seeker till we die, seeker for life, right? Reaffirm that with me. Seeker for life. We can do this. So in closing, I just want to say you're doing a great job. This manifestation process can sometimes feel slow, but remember, it's not punishment. It's not that you're doing it wrong. It's an invitation to reflect, to heal, to recalibrate, to ground down, to rise up, to look after yourself. When you're going through these slower periods, take a break. Trust that amazing things are on the other side, or at least do what you can to reflect on what is this life? What is this challenge teaching me? What do I need? And don't be afraid to invest in what you need. If your soul is calling you for more meditations or to do yoga again, listen to that. And sometimes we can be like, oh, $15 for a drop-in yoga, like, oh, that's a lot. And go, no, I'm worth it. This is what I feel I need right now to recalibrate, to come back into my body. You are worth it. And again, that investment is your time, is your love, is your focus. You're saying, I'm important. My growth is important. What I need is important. So support yourself during this time. Slow down to speed up. Ground down to rise up. And if you want to join the meditation challenge, it's the perfect complement if you're going through this. Again, you can join for just $15. The link is below. But you are on the right path. Just keep going on this journey. It can get tough, but you're doing it. You are closer than you think, in fact, because you're listening to something like this. You're doing the work. You're committed to your own journey. I acknowledge you for that. Go have a fantastic day, and I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you for listening to the Awakening Her podcast, your go-to for real life manifestation. If you enjoyed the show, please leave a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you're listening from. Reviews really help the show. You can also find me after the show on Instagram at Talia Joy Manifestation. And listen, love, I know that you are ready to stop spinning your wheels and hustling and doing a bunch of stuff, and you're ready to make the money you want to make, to feel the way you want to feel. And if this is the case for you, then you are absolutely in the right place. I'm so excited. And if you're ready to jump into the implementation, you can check out On the Path. The link is below. Remember, all manifestation starts on the inside. I'll see you in the next episode.